My name is Rachel. Telling this story feels a bit embarrassing, but I feel like I need to share what happened. It's something so personal that I couldn't tell anyone in my life, but maybe sharing this story can be a sort of release for me. Last summer, my brother and his wife decided to go on a short weekend trip and asked me to look after my nephew Liam for a couple of days. Liam is only 19 and a really smart kid. Spending time with him is usually fun, so I agreed without a second thought. The first day went by completely normal. Liam and I watched movies, played games, and laughed a lot. But I had no idea that the second day would bring one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. That morning Liam told me he wanted to go out. I assumed he was meeting up with his friends, and I was glad to have some time to myself. Sometimes you just need a little space, right? As soon as Liam left, I went to my bedroom to relax. I scrolled through social media for a bit and then decided to watch something to lift my mood. Everything seemed normal. It didn't even cross my mind that Liam might come back early. But when the door suddenly opened, the shock I felt was indescribable. Liam caught me in a moment I was completely unprepared for. "Emma, I realized I forgot my keys, so I came back," he said, but the surprised look in his eyes said much more than his words. For a few seconds, there was an awkward silence in the room. I wished the ground would just swallow me whole. "Liam, why didn't you knock on the door?" I asked, trying to salvage the situation. But Liam just looked at me and with a shy expression said, "I'm sorry, Emma, but I think I should stay here now." As I tried to figure out what was going on, I noticed that Liam seemed to be hiding something. "Liam, tell me the truth," I said. And at that moment I realized that this wasn't just about that one embarrassing moment. It was something more. There was a strange expression in Liam's eyes. Was it embarrassment or something else? I couldn't figure out what he was about to say. But the fact that he wasn't leaving the room made me even more uncomfortable. "What do you mean you need to stay, Liam? Can you explain?" I asked, my voice trembling. Liam took a deep breath and said, "This might sound weird, Emma, but this morning while I was talking to my friends I heard something about you." I was taken aback. "About me? What did you hear?" "Yes, I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding, but someone said they saw some kind of video of you," he said, staring at the floor. My heart raced. "What? What video? What are you talking about, Liam?" Liam's face turned even redder. "I don't know, Rachel. My friends just mentioned something. I don't know who recorded it or how, but it bothered me so much that I came back home. I didn't want to see you like this." His words hit me like a ton of bricks. What video? What kind of misunderstanding could this be? At that moment everything felt so confusing. I was both angry and worried about Liam. If what he was saying was true, this could be a serious problem for me. "Liam, if you're hiding something you need to tell me now. This could get both of us into trouble." "Tell me exactly what you saw and heard," I said, my tone more firm. Liam hesitated for a moment, then took out his phone and showed me a video. But instead of playing it he paused. "Maybe it's better if you don't see this, but Rachel, someone might have recorded you. It could be someone trying to hurt you," he said. That was when I realized this was bigger than I had imagined. If someone had really invaded my privacy and it had spread the way Liam described, the situation could spiral out of control. I sat down and tried to calm myself. "Liam, you need to tell me everything right now. We have to figure this out together," I said. Liam nodded and replied, "All right, Emma, but we're not going to handle this alone. We need to involve the police too." My heart started pounding even faster. Now I wasn't just worried for myself. I was worried for Liam too. If we didn't talk to the right people, this could ruin both of our lives. But deep down, I had a feeling there was a more complicated story behind all of this. At that moment, Liam and I just looked at each other. The silence between us made the weight of the situation even heavier. "All right," I said in a calm voice. "We'll figure this out together, but for now, don't tell anyone. Not my brother, not anyone. This has to stay between us, okay?" Liam nodded. I trust you, Rachel. I just don't want anyone to hurt you. The sincerity in his voice struck me. Liam was still just a kid, but in that moment the maturity he showed made me see a different side of him. From that day on, something changed between Liam and me. It was like what had happened brought us closer in a strange way. When my brother and his wife returned, we tried to act as if everything was normal. But every time Liam and I locked eyes, I could feel that silent connection still there. Over time, Liam started reaching out to me more often. He'd send messages like, "If something's wrong, please tell me." At first, I thought his protective attitude was just a reaction to what we'd been through. But as the days went by, I started to feel something strange. A warmth I couldn't quite explain. Was Liam's concern for me more than just innocent worry? And more importantly, was I starting to feel something for him too? One evening my husband Daniel was out of town for work. I was home alone when another message from Liam popped up on my phone. "I need your help, Rachel. Can I come over?" I hesitated at first, but couldn't bring myself to say no. "Come over," I texted back. When Liam walked in, there was a familiar look of worry on his face. "Rachel, I have to tell you something," he said. "I can't stop thinking about what happened that day." I could hear the tremble in his voice. Liam wasn't trying to hide anything. He just needed to let it out. "Liam, we need to move past this," I said, though even I didn't believe my own words. Liam sat down and leaned in closer. "Rachel, you're such a special person. After everything, I've realized I feel safe when I'm with you. I need you." His words felt like they pulled the ground out from under me. I didn't know what to say, but in that moment I realized something. The kind of closeness Liam was offering was something I hadn't felt in years. Not even in my marriage with Daniel. Liam's honesty, his surprising maturity, despite his age, was pulling me toward him. As I looked at Liam, I felt like I was fighting a battle within myself. My marriage to Daniel had grown monotonous, dull. His constant focus on work made me feel like a stranger in my own home. But Liam in just a few weeks seemed to understand me in ways Daniel never had. But what was the right thing to do? Were these feelings just a product of that difficult moment, or was there something real between us? That night, the conversation I had with Liam stayed etched in my mind. Everything he said, the feelings, all of it. His openness and honesty confronted me with something I hadn't felt in a long time. The feeling of being understood. My marriage with Daniel had become a routine. The same greetings in the mornings, the same silent dinners in the evenings. But when I talked to Liam, I felt alive. However, I knew this wasn't right. Liam was my nephew, and the age difference between us was significant. But this connection seemed to form beyond my control. As days passed, Liam and I started communicating more frequently. Texts, small visits. Each time he'd start with, "I was just checking in on you." But our conversations always went deeper. When I talked to him, I could tell him everything I couldn't share with Daniel. Whatever was missing in my marriage seemed to be fulfilled by Liam's presence. One evening Daniel told me he'd be working late. Just then my phone buzzed. It was from Liam. "Emma, can I see you? We need to talk." This time I didn't hesitate. "Sure, come over," I replied. When Liam arrived at the door, there was a serious expression on his face. "Rachel," he said, "I know this is strange, but I can't stop thinking about talking to you. Being with you, it makes me feel different." I looked at him, and before I could say anything I paused for a moment. "Liam, I felt the same way," I said quietly. "But it's not right. Daniel is my husband and you're my nephew. We need to push these feelings aside." Liam took a step closer. "But why? Daniel isn't making you happy. I can see it in your eyes. You deserve to be with someone who values you, Rachel." His words pierced through me. Was he right? Had my anger and disappointment with Daniel become a wall that made my connection with Liam stronger? "Liam, we can't do this," I said, my voice trembling. "What we're feeling is just a temporary confusion. I care about you so much, but if we go down this path, we'll both get hurt. Liam took a deep breath. You're right, he said finally. But I needed to tell you this. No matter what happens, I'll always be here for you. Know that someone cares about you. After Liam left that night, I spent a long time thinking. I needed to figure out how to fill the gaps in my marriage with Daniel and how to set boundaries with my connection to Liam. But I knew it wouldn't be easy. One weekend Daniel had taken the day off from work. We both realized we hadn't spent much time together lately, so we planned a dinner. But no matter how hard we tried, the distance between us couldn't be closed. During the meal we stuck to casual topics, avoiding anything deeper. Daniel as usual was absorbed in his phone, checking work emails. On the way home there was a deep silence in the car. My heart felt tight and a growing emptiness was stirring inside me. I turned to Daniel and said, "Can you pull over? I need some fresh air." He nodded and pulled the car to the side of the road. After getting out of the car, I walked a few steps, trying to breathe. Daniel continued to scroll through his phone without saying a word. Just then my phone buzzed. It was a message from Liam. "Rachel, are you okay? I've been thinking about you." My hand trembled as I replied. "I'm fine, but I don't think I can take this anymore. I can't stand this emptiness." The reply came almost immediately. "I'm here. I'm coming to you." Liam's message made my heart race. Within 2 minutes, he was there. He saw Daniel in the car, but walked straight toward me without hesitation. "Rachel, is everything okay?" he asked, his voice full of concern. Daniel looked up from his phone and glanced at Liam. "Why are you here, Liam?" "This was a family dinner," he said coldly. But Liam, with determination responded, "Maybe Emma needs a little more than that, Daniel." At that moment I reached my breaking point. I had to choose between Daniel's constant indifference and Liam's sensitivity toward me. I turned to Daniel and I knew I couldn't stay silent anymore. "Do you realize how much you ignore me, Daniel? You sit next to me, but it's like you don't even notice I'm here." Daniel, surprised, said, "Rachel, this isn't the time to discuss this." But his words didn't stop me. "It's not the right time or place, I know, but this has been going on for years and I can't carry it anymore," I said, my eyes filling with tears. Liam stood silently beside me, but the determination in his eyes affected me. "Rachel, if you want to leave, I'll take you," he said softly. Daniel didn't say anything. He just went back to his phone and started typing a message. For me, this was a turning point. I walked over to Liam and said, "Let's go." As we got into the car, I was filled with complex emotions. Liam took the wheel and drove quietly. Just a few minutes later he stopped, turned to me, and asked, "Rachel, do you think we're doing the right thing?" I lowered my head, but when I looked at him the words came out. "I don't know, Liam, but I needed to change something." Liam smiled faintly and gently placed his hand on my shoulder. "Then we're starting here." In that moment I knew my life would never be the same again.